Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 here on Weekly NFL News. This week we're going to be doing the winners and losers for Week 2 in fantasy, PPR format. We're going to go ahead and start off with the winners here. We're going to do 5 winners, 5 losers. So at number 5 for the winners, I have Matt Breida for the San Francisco 49ers. He racked up 25.9 fantasy points. He had 11 rushes for 138 yards and 1 touchdown. He also picked up 3 receptions for 21 yards. Now, see, with Jerick McKinnon being out for San Francisco, Breida has picked up more of a role. Do I see this being a long-term thing? No. But as of right now, he's the leading rusher in the entire NFL. And it's only week 2. But Matt Breida for my number 5 winners for the week. Number 4, I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey. I watched this game. I'm a huge Atlanta fan. I watched them play Carolina. He's basically their, besides Cam Newton, he's their entire offense. He had 14 receptions. They play through him. I see him being a big play the entire season. If you have him on your team, as long as he stays healthy, and that goes with everybody, as long as they stay healthy, or as long as Christian stays healthy, I would play him every week you possibly can. In some instances, I think Cam's automatically knowing that he's going to throw to him. So huge play out of Christian McCaffrey this week. Yeah, they lost to Atlanta, but still, 27.9 fantasy points off of 14 receptions for a running back. That's huge. That's huge. And he's my number 4 winner of the week. Number 3, I have Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley didn't have a whole lot of rushing yards. He did pick up a reception or 2, but they used him in the red zone, and he scored 3 touchdowns, which is pretty big. He had a total of 32.3 fantasy points this week. Of course, Todd Gurley's probably was drafted number 1 in everybody's fantasy leagues. He's a huge player this year. But I have Todd Gurley at my number 3 this week. Number 2, I have Stephon Diggs, wide receiver out of Minnesota. He had a huge game this week. He racked up 35.9 fantasy points. He had 9 receptions for 128 yards. I believe he had a touchdown as well. Don't have it wrote down here, but I believe he did. Stephon Diggs, huge game this week, and he really played well. Him and Adam Thielen both played well. I think if the Vikings can play like that throughout the season, they're going to do well. If they can score that many points and have that many passing yards to 2 very solid receivers, I think the Minnesota Vikings could, possibly make another run at playing for a Super Bowl this year. At number 1, I have a tie for number 1. I'm going to have to say Ben Roethlisberger. He had the 452 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. He also had 2 attempts at rushing 9 yards and 1 touchdown. But I'm going to have to tie for winners with Patty Mahomes. It's just hard for me to get over. Ben had 39 points. Patrick Mahomes had 38.8. Patrick Mahomes passed for 326 yards and he had 6 TDs. Both of them played very well. I think Ben has more options to throw to on the outside, on the receiver end, where Patrick Mahomes has a great receiver in Tyreek Hill and probably the second best tight end in the entire league behind Gronk with Travis Kelce. So those are my tied for first winners this week. They were so matched. Ben had about 125 more yards than Mahomes, but Mahomes also had 2 more touchdowns total than Ben did. So those are my number 1 winners for the week, and now we're going to jump into my losers. These players are the players who underperformed this week than what they are normal, and I'm going to start at, I'm going to give the worst. I'm going to go from the best of the losers to the worst. My top 5 losers this week. So at number 5, I'm going to have to throw in my boy Andrew Luck. I really like how Andrew Luck plays the game. He's a fantastic quarterback out of Indianapolis. I just don't know, with him being out last season, I just don't know if they have it all together yet. So Andrew Luck, he passed for 179 yards. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, but he also had 2 takeaways. or 2 interceptions, I'm sorry. Andrew Luck would be my number 5 loser this week. Number 4 coming in is Alfred Morris. A lot of people probably played Alfred Morris these past 2 weeks, hoping to see a better performance with him for the 49ers. Since McKinnon's out, they have 2 backs, Breida and Morris, and it looks like Breida is going to be taking over that role until McKinnon comes back. I don't really know too much about his injury. Going to be getting into more depth with injuries and stuff like that later on. So number 4, Alfred Morris, 14. He had 14 carries for 48 yards. He had 2 receptions for 32 yards. So very, 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 very underperformed this week was Alfred Morris. Number 3, I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to put my boy Odell in there. And part of this is because of the Giants' offensive line and Eli getting smashed around. But Odell had 4 receptions for 51 yards. I know he's a start in every single league. So sorry about it, guys, but Odell, my number 3 loser for the week. My number 2 loser is Adrian Peterson. He had 11 carries for 20 yards. That's a little under 2 yards a carry. That's pretty sorry there. A lot of people have Adrian Peterson and are playing him since he is one of the go-to backs in Arizona. Pretty terrible performance for Adrian Peterson this week. My number 1 loser of the week, which is crazy because just a year or so ago, he was the number 1 player in all of the National Football League for fantasy, and that's my boy David Johnson. The poor guy had 13 carries for 48 yards, and he had 1 reception for 3 yards. David Johnson was a wide receiver in college. He can catch the ball. He got drafted as a wide receiver, flex style, Ty Montgomery player, and I mean he can run, flat out run. But why not throw it to him in the flat and see what he can do? That's what I got for this week, guys. Those are my winners and losers of fantasy football for week number 2. If you haven't already, go check out my top performers video. That's the first video up on this channel. I do appreciate the views, guys. First video is sitting at like 10 views right now, which is way more than what I thought it was going to get. So I do appreciate it. Be on the lookout for a couple videos a week. I haven't got a set schedule yet. I'm trying to build up my videos so I have more for people to watch. But as this football starts to roll on, more and more videos are going to come out. I'm going to try and do a predictions video for this week. I'm going to try and do a my top plays for this week, who I think you should play for fantasy, and maybe go insight on some other things. There's been a big trade with Josh Gordon leaving the Browns, now moving to New England. What is that going to do for Tom Brady? Will Belichick be able to get Gordon to focus on actually playing the game of football, or instead of partying with his friends? So kind of a Johnny Manziel wide receiver issue here. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about fantasy this week, please drop them down in the comments section. I will answer every single comment. Thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.